thank you to Coach Lee, and thank you for showing us a way out, and that we don't have to live with this problem. We don't have to suffer throughout our lives, and that there is a way out, and there's a goal for us to reach. And if we haven't quite reached that goal yet, then there's no one else we can blame. The coaches here can only show us the way. But at the end of the day, as Coach Lee and everyone also says and believes, that we can help ourselves, and we have to find a way out ourselves. Coach Lee advises on reading out loud about once an hour, about an hour every day. However, if you're still having bad days, guess what? Just as Matthew McConaughey in the movie with The Wolf of Wall Street says, pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. Immerse yourself. Pump those numbers up. Read for 5 hours a day. Read for 12 hours a day. I don't care. If you want to overcome stuttering, pump those numbers up. Guess what? 1 year from now, if you read out loud every day in your stutter free zone, and you read every hour, every single day, 1 year from now, you can look back and think, hey, guess what? I haven't stuttered in 1 year. So the question is, I guess, do we really want it? Do we really want it so bad? Do we want to give it everything that we got to overcome stuttering?
I was super excited to see you talk very slowly today. The pauses, the stops that you inserted were amazing. And I just wanted to understand how was your mindset prior to SAM meeting? Because I know that lately you've been struggling with a lot of negative mindset. So just curious, how was your mindset and how did you prepare yourself for this talk?
Well, so to answer you uh, plainly and frankly, I did not quite prepare for this talk.
Mhm.
I focused on thoughts instead of words, and I pretty much knew what I would say uh, based on the format that Javier sent me through an email. So I tried to follow that format the best I could, and that kind of gave me some structure to my talk, which really helped. And as far as my mindset goes, yes, you're right. Lately, I had been struggling with a lot of fear, but again, my wife is out, and I visualized myself that when she walks in, and I knew she would ask me about how your talk went, and I visualized myself talking to her and telling her, "Hey, the talk went so well. I just spoke so smoothly, and it was a great talk."
Absolutely agree with that, Aldrin. And Aldrin is one of the best speakers I've seen in my speech. This coaching journey. It's just that the negative mindset sometimes pulls him down. But I think if you can think negatively about your speech, you can also think positively about your speech. And if we are very good at negatively reinforcing, we should be too good at positively reinforcing as well, right? So I think, Aldrin, you took that step of seeing or of saying something, that your speech went well to your wife in your mind. And I think you should do this more often for a longer time. And your speech is wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Pratusha.
Thank you, Aldrin, for your very motivating speech. What resonated with me a lot was your focus on neuroplasticity. And I wanted to ask you, aside from self hypnosis, which one of Coach Lee's teachings or from any of the other speech coaches really helped you reshape your thoughts from an insecurity mentality to telling yourself that you are a fluent speaker?
Right. So aside from SHTs, as Coach Lee says that self-hypnosis treatments are the fastest way to mind control. And as long as we have the tool of SHTs, I don't think we even need to look anywhere else. Like, why would we want? I mean, I think I have been guilty of that in the past where I've just tried to look for so many answers when I had the answer all along. Sometimes we try to oversaturate ourselves with advice that we don't really do what's needed to be done. We procrastinate because we just want all this advice, and after we've listened to, again, I'm speaking for myself, okay, like this is how I've been in the past, and that's a weakness of mine. However, we have the tools. We have the tools, and SHTs have been really helpful to me. Dean's audio recording on the app is something I listen to almost every night. And of course, my affirmations, I play around with them. I switch them up every now and then. That's the most important, first of all. And the 1, 2, 3 punch, reading out loud. And like I was saying earlier, read out loud as much as you can. I mean, 1 hour a day is just a baseline. Set the bar for yourself so high that 1 hour a day feels like rookie numbers.
What are your next speaking goals? Like, I don't know, like, do you plan to do something, maybe go to Toastmasters or go to any open mics, or I don't know, do you have any other new speaking goals?
Only goal for now is to overcome my fear, because although it may not have shown through my speech and through this call, but uh, speech anxiety is something that I battle with almost every day, fearing situations, fearing high pressure situations, and unnecessarily picturing myself stumbling through my words in scenarios that haven't even happened yet. So, but thankfully, I have the tools now, and I do fight it. But the fight goes on, and my goal is to get to a point where these negative thoughts have like no hold on me for even a second. That as soon as they come, I can overcome them within a second.
What are the new things that you have been able to do or have been doing since becoming a PWSS?
Oh, the new things I've been doing. In fact, I think, and that's a very good question. Thanks, Kaushik. And I didn't realize that I was the first one to speak with you on the call when you had joined. And I'm glad that I could do that, and I'm glad that you did join that meeting. To answer your question, I think this happened. I think I noticed the most significant change in my courage after my first call with Coach Lee about this was like last November. I was about I think back then about 5 calls in with Coach Pratusha, and I had one call with Coach Lee, and that was my first call with Coach Lee. And he gave me some advice during the call. And that same week, I remember I had the courage to talk to our senior vice president about a sales job. And she showed great interest in me. And anyway, so on and so forth. And I think I dared to do that. I think that's more important. That I think before that, before all of this, I think the past me wouldn't have had the courage to talk to someone of such high stature. And you know, it's been about 4 months or 5 months since then. I also had the courage to apply officially for a sales role, go and do interviews. Because honestly, the past me would have just been happy where I'm at, R&D, not having to speak much, be thank my stars that I have a job, a good job in my field, and that I don't have to do any interviews, I don't have to move up, and that I'm just happy in my shell. I think that's how the past me would think, and so I think that's the way I've changed now. I take more steps, Kaushik. I'm more bold, and I think that's what led me to even having the sales role.
That you really wanted to improve it, and most of the people just accepted it. What made you want to improve it so much? Like, are you a person that always tries to overcome your challenges?
Yeah, yes, I think yes, I think that's exactly how I am. Basically, I like to excel at everything I do to the best of my ability. Yeah, speaking of challenges, yeah, my speech has been a challenge, or had been a challenge all my life, and I always knew that this is not something that I wanted to live with. I always looked forward to the day that I would overcome stuttering. As some people say, oh, people outgrow their stutter, and most do, without any effort. And when I was a kid, I often looked to the future, and I was like, oh, when I turn 25 or 30, this will be behind me, and I will no longer deal with the stuttering. And however, I didn't have the tools through Coach Lee. But now that I do, I'm glad that I could overcome that challenge and finally look behind and say that, oh, that's all behind me.
I would definitely like to also say that, speech performance anxiety definitely kind of guided me as far as like which career path I would choose in life, right? Like, I definitely wanted to be in the psychology path, right? But because of, speech anxiety, I prefer to go towards IT and tech. So thinking that I wouldn't be, put on this, on a stage to speak a lot, but that's not the case. Like, you have to speak everywhere. And yeah, and the fact that you actually like displayed the results as far as like taking your effort here and then translating it into your real life situation. I mean, that's amazing. That's very inspiring. Because I recently had an interview and I was unprepared. It totally caught me off guard. I literally had 3 minutes to get ready for the interview, and going into the interview, I forgot that I even participated in WSSA. Like, you know, okay. Yeah. So I totally forgot anything about this program. I totally went to ground zero. And mid interview, I kind of had to, reveal or tell the, interviewer that, hey, man, I'm confident in what I'm saying, but at the same time, I have this little stutter thing, and he was totally fine, with it and made me feel comfortable. And then that's when I remembered some of the speech plans and I started to like take my time. So
Hassan, you're speaking great, and I love what you're saying, but do not ever say you're a stutterer anywhere, anytime, to anybody for any reason.
okay.
Let your speech speak for itself. Never say you're a stutterer. Never.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
in fact, Hassan, that's exactly what I was about to say as well. It's in Coach Lee's book, because one of my previous coaches,
Mm-hmm.
or coach that I had for a short period of time, advised me that I should tell the interviewer that I have a stutter, and that would take away the pressure. And when I tried that in the past, it didn't work. Instead, now it set a mindset in me that it's okay for me to do that. But when I read Coach Lee's book, that made a lot more sense to me, because at the end of the day, as Coach Lee also said, now our speech will speak for ourselves. And most of the times, in my experience, people haven't even noticed that I've stuttered, or that I've stumbled through a block, or that I've used a crutch. They don't even notice if we drop the first syllable, so on and so forth. So there's no need to do that, as Coach Lee said. Yep.
Okay. I would definitely take note of that, and I won't mention that again. Thank
Right. Oh, and also there was one more thing I'd like to add. What I did before my interview was I prepared myself, because in the past, most of the times when I've been unprepared, that's when I've blocked, because there's just too much going on in our heads. We're thinking of phrasing sentences, we're thinking of a speech plan, we're thinking of the pressure. So being well prepared, we live in a day and age where we can be prepared easily. I used Grok, which is AI, or Chat GPT, and I went through all possible questions that I could be asked about sales in the interview. And I just went through all of them, and I had an answer for every scenario prepared. I asked ChatGPT to spit out 100 questions and answers, and I just went through all of that.
So for the bad thoughts which we have about our speech, mm, uh, so, uh, so like I would want to ask you that how you are able to sort of improve on that, and yeah, even after some bad incidents, how you are able to remind yourself. It's fine that if you're having some bad incidents, so like how do you work on overcoming the cycle of bad thoughts which animate from even a single bad incident?
By flooding my mind with positive thoughts. By flooding my mind with positive thoughts and not dwelling on a small speech boo boo. I think that has really helped me. And again, sticking to the daily routine, reading out loud. Again, if you are fluent in your stutter free zone, if you are fluent when you read out loud, then keep doing it all day. Keep doing it all day, every day until, for every 5 hours, let's say you read for 5 hours and you're fluent. And then you go into the real world for about an hour and you're fluent. Come back and read for 5 hours more. Again, I'm just giving you really high numbers because we need to set the bar high, because when we think of 1 hour, we barely get by, or we barely get done with 5 minutes or 15 minutes or 30 minutes of reading. But when we set the bar for ourselves high, 5 hours, 10 hours, and listening to ourselves speaking fluently, then that's the only way where we can counter negative thoughts.
Aldrin, very good answer. And I would say to Jarir, look, practice, practice, practice. If you want to be a good swimmer, you know what the swimmers do? They swim hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of laps in their stroke. That's what they do. And if you want to be a great speaker, whether you ever stuttered or not, you need to practice. You need to speak under pressure. The more you do it, the better you'll get. Using crutches and speech plans only when you're not under pressure, you'll never be able to do them under pressure. You need to work on them, which is not to say pick the worst situation, but try to go up the ladder one step at a time, one level harder, one level harder, one level harder. Keep going. You will get there. Listen to Aldrin. He sounds like he never stuttered in his life. There were so many questions, so many wonderful questions. And our speaker, Aldrin, answered them like a professional, like he'd been scripted. He did such a good job that there's really, I don't want to keep people any longer today other than to thank you, Javi, for hosting, and thank Aldrin for being a fantastic speaker. I mean, if you're not the best ever, you're right there. You just did an incredible job, and
Thank you.
everyone's hat is off to you. You sound great as well, but you are quick on your feet and you understand what's going on. And I agree with every word you said today. So thanks for doing this. You're a great salesman for the neuroscience method to stop stuttering. You're a poster boy.
Good. Okay, so now it is time to close our meeting. I hope that you enjoyed exchanging thoughts with ex-stutterers and those fast becoming ex-stutterers. I will now close with our motto. Feel free to say it along with me. If you can say one word, anywhere, anytime, you can say and love to say any word, anywhere, anytime.